Well, you know what I would love to see is for companies, manufacturers specifically, to actually update their phones to the latest version of Android, which is exactly what Google's trying to help with right now. Bloomberg last week had a report about how Google is looking to possibly shame those OEMs by revealing an Android update report card that highlights those who are doing well with OS updates and security updates and those who are not passing class. Ron, you wrote a little ditty on this. What do you think about this besides too little, too late? That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't. These are like big adult companies. I don't really think you're going to shame them into doing anything.
Shame.
Or like making a list. Google wants to they want to make a list and hand out gold star stickers like it's kindergarten, and you're going to get the kids to try harder. I think for these companies, the update situation comes down to money, in that it takes a lot of engineering time to produce an update, and it hurts the value of the newer phones currently on the market to update an old phone. Like if you have, if Samsung doesn't update the Galaxy S6, people are probably more likely to go update their phones sooner and buy a Galaxy S7 and give Samsung more money. Or at least that's how these companies probably think. And for Google to just come along and say, oh, well, if we just get them to maybe try harder, it's going to work. It's like, no, I think you need to actually incentivize them with money, somehow. And the solution that I put forward with is that Google already shares ad revenue with these companies, with a lot of them. So if you buy a Samsung phone and you click on a Google ad, Samsung gets a share of the ad money that you just generated. And they should totally tie this to updates somehow and say if the phone is if someone clicks an ad on an up-to-date phone, you get 10% of the revenue. If they click an ad on an older phone that's not as up to date, then you only get 5% of the revenue or 0%, or just do something in these huge contracts that you work out that says you get money from Google somehow to update phones. Thank you.
Brian.
You did such a great job on that article, Ron.
That's
gold star.
That's a really interesting concept, and I would even take it one step further. I would wonder if they're, instead of hitting them where it hurts and taking money away from them, is there some way to work out a subsidy or something on Android phones? So to make them cheaper so that more people buy them if the manufacturers agree to push out the updates faster. Google will come in and will add, take $25 off or whatever, whatever the adjustment is to kind of show listen, we're in this together. It's up to, we think it's really important for you to push out the updates fast enough. So we're going to put our money where our mouth is and help more people buy your handsets.
Well, I think agreements to do stuff in the future is a little scary because they already tried to do the Android Update Alliance and everybody showed up and was like, yeah, we're totally going to do this. And then everybody forgot about it next year. So the thing with ads is that it's this is your actual install base right now, and this person on Lollipop clicked an ad, so you get less money. If he had been on Marshmallow, you'd get more money. And something like that says, what is your install base right now? Why aren't these people being updated? I think something like that would maybe kick them in the butt and make it happen. But I think right now the big problem is just there's no incentive at all for these companies to do updates. It costs them money. And they look at it and they say, well, this is going to cost us money, so we're not going to do it. And I think until you fix that problem, the update problem will never be solved.
Yep.
So why not just this is so totalitarian of me, but why not just kick them out of the program? To be
be together, not this.
Get out. Go find your own OS. See how much money that's going to cost.
Then they're going to go to Cyanogen.
No, they're not.
Why not?
I don't think they are.
Why not?
I don't know.
Isn't that why Cyanogen's there? Doesn't the loudmouth at Cyanogen want to stick it to Google and all that sort of stuff? Wouldn't they love those kind of contracts?
Yeah, but do they have the money to put behind that?
That's the question. That's the question.
I don't know. Google's in a very sticky situation in that regard because Google really wants all of these.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Google
makes an insane amount of money just from the sheer fact that all of these different OEMs
it helps its
have their
propagation
software
across the
installed.
world. Yeah.
And so kicking them out, actually really harms Google a lot more.
I know. But in my totalitarian
You just
fantasy,
want to drop.
I just want to
drop the hammer.
You know, obviously, I'm wholly aware that would not work.
Can we back up to my totalitarian fantasy? Because I would like to hear more about that.
Listen, my family's Romanian. What do you expect? I got it in my blood. But you know,
well, I think how
I'm
much
frustrated.
I think how much Google actually cares is an interesting question because they've kind of gotten used to planning ahead and dealing with the slow update process. Like it takes 18 months to roll an update out or something. So we've seen them kind of plan around this in the past. Like when they were going to do smartwatches, they rolled out compatibility for smartwatches like a year before they launched a smartwatch in Android. Like it just kind of hung out in Android 4.3, I think, and like nobody, they just left it there. And then when they just launched Android Instant Apps. They totally did it in Google Play Services, doesn't even care about the Android version, works back to like Jelly Bean or something. I think they've kind of learned to deal with this internally, and it's not a huge deal. Like they get all their ad revenue, they still get all their Google Play revenue. If your phone's not up to date, it's not a huge deal for any of the companies involved.
Yeah. Tragic.
I know. As Ron is talking, it's making me feel. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. Okay. I just want to say, as Ron's talking, it's making me just feel like I have no other solution for this.
I don't really know.
It's a tough problem.
It's a really challenging scenario, and it's also one of the major, most important things that Google somehow needs to figure out.
It's a huge pain point.
As more and more versions happen, I mean, the hole just gets dug deeper and deeper.
Which is funny because I mean, personally, from my perspective, I only see the pain in looking at the adoption rates. Right, because I've been on a Nexus phone and because of stuff, I haven't suffered from this. Right. Now that I'm on the Robin, we'll see how it goes. I mean, hopefully those guys are going to stay on top of it, and you know, I don't have to worry about these updates. But we'll see with N how that rolls out. Yeah. But I can't imagine. I mean, like I think my dad had a Samsung phone, and a couple of versions back, I was like, "Oh, what do you think of the new?" He's like, "Oh, I haven't got it yet." I was like, "It's been like a year." It's that would drive me crazy.
Yeah, that's the other thing about this list is it's like, who is the target market for this list going to be? Because the way Google would do it is they'd make a list and put it online on the internet somewhere.
On a blog.
And it's like everybody.
It's true.
Everybody that goes online and looks at this stuff, they're going to do the research and know that the update situation sucks and that if they care about updates, they should buy a Nexus.
True.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless you're going to post this as like a flyer in every Verizon store on Earth, it's not gonna affect any people that it needs to affect.
Could you imagine like a leaderboard, like you know?
Yeah, I can
in
see
every single like carrier store.
Yeah, in a carrier store,
why would
it's
the
like
here's the
guide. Here's a guide to what this like symbol system you know.
They'll be like, oh, there's the iPhone
to the price
over there.
tag.
I'm just gonna go buy that phone instead.
Right. Yeah. And then I'm the manufacturer who tells the carrier, you know, don't shame me. I'm gonna pull all my co-marketing budget. You know, like these things are so entangled. Is that Verizon isn't paying for all their marketing, Samsung's kicking in, you know, HTC's kicking in. They're all Apple's kicking in. They're all, you know, that's what happens. And so.
And that's how the carriers like really make their money.
Exactly.
They're like, who wants to give us all the money to have the special spot on our
and
seasonal advertising? Yep. Like, let's take it.
It's very difficult.
It is because corporations.
I think Ron's got a good idea, though. I think it'd be interesting to see if they did that, to see if that could impact them, give them an opportunity to make more money. That makes sense. So.
Well, I don't think Google cares enough to actually do it, though.
Yeah,
sadly, I agree with you. Yeah,
and the amount of money that the OEMs would be losing would have to be enough to cover more than what they would get if they just continued doing what they were doing. And
what's frustrating is you have a company like Samsung, who is one of the #1 electronics makers in the world, and it's difficult for them to like
because they're releasing a million different devices all the time.
I know it's very frustrating. Like that's the kind of situation where I wish there was something where you could put your foot down and say, this is not cool. You got to stop like putting money into your fridges and put more money into like software.
I mean, buy shares in Samsung, and then you could show up to the shareholder meeting.
I know.
Excuse me. And what you don't want to see, and which is we're starting to hear rumblings of, but personally, what I don't want to see is I don't want to see the government get involved. I mean, that's the key thing, and that's
That's
what's
like
gonna,
EU level thing for it to happen in
what's
the
gonna,
US.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen at some
Yeah.
point. I mean, the wheels are already starting to move in that direction. We reported a couple weeks ago that they're having hearings and talking about that. So who knows?
Well, if it's for the safety of the consumer, then yes, it's going to be taken up to the American government, who wants to protect its people, who will stop at no end.
As much as we like to complain about silly user features, like the security problem is a serious, big deal.
For real,
And we've just been lucky enough to not have any kind of for real serious exploit happen. But, if something did happen where it's like, this is an exploitable, virus thing that's happening right now that makes your phone dial a 900 number or something, there's no way to fix it. There's no. They're gonna say, yeah, well, let the battery die and don't turn it on again. We have no way to fix this.
Yeah, how about I rally everybody to go throw their phones at the Verizon window? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that.
Don't do that. Don't. We didn't say to do that. We didn't say.
I'm just trying to think of all these extreme things in my mind.
Flo says the world, hey guys, let's rally and just walk away.
Don't listen to me. I'm coming from a place of anger and emotion.
Well, let's give Flo a timeout. Let's give her a moment to breathe.